All right, what's going on, everybody? How are we doing today? Steve Mingelko with Final Web Design. I have another video talking about the whole web market and why the majority of web firms throughout the United States, but also throughout the Miami local area, are garbage. Final Web Design, this is Steve. And there's a lot of reasons that this is becoming a bigger situation as the world's kind of got into this whole gig economy and this whole everybody kind of needs a website, so they're trying to reach out to anybody they might know. Let's talk about why the majority of these web firms in the South Florida area and throughout the United States are garbage. And there's a lot of reasons, and people are learning sometimes the hard way. So I want to just start off by saying the first reason that a lot of these web firms are not up to par with what professional businesses need is that they have a lack of experience and a lack of skills. Now, building a professional website is not easy. It takes a lot of time, organization, management, the right people with the right skills, whether it's building the website with HTML and CSS or, managing blog posts and writing content and creating graphics and all these things that kind of go into your website to make it a professional website. And a lot of these firms right now, or people or identities that say that they are firms, they're lacking these skills and they're not able to grow with the time. So what was popular 5 years ago as far as UI, UX, how people interact with websites has definitely changed and is going to continue to change over the next 5-10 years. So as people and these people or identities that say that they are web firms continue to lack the experience and lack the skills, you're going to find more and more web firms that are considered trash. Now, why can't these people or these businesses find more experience? Is because it's hard. A lot of these kids or even adults who are into web development or application development, a lot of them will go off to big web firms. The Facebooks, the Googles, the Amazons, the Ubers, the Microsofts. If you have a lot of good skills in this industry, you're not going to be working for a small mom and pop web firm. It's just not the case. And it's hard to find those people because they're very expensive. It's hard to pay a six-figure salary for somebody who could be out on the, working for Tesla or one of these other large IT type companies. So I would just go back to the first one, is that there's a huge lack of experience out there. And this will kind of go over to my second item, which would just be that a lot of firms are either overpricing or underpricing the market. So what does a website cost these days? Well, it really depends on the business. It depends on the amount of pages. It depends on the features like payments or user logins, all these different things that websites can entail. But a lot of these firms are either trying to get some money in, so they're doing stuff too low, which ultimately produces like anything you pay cheap, you get a cheap product in the end. And people are upset with that because it's very hard to price something like a website depending on the business. Now, people are also overpricing stuff. So a lot of times these firms might not understand, or these companies who are looking for the web firms, that some of this pricing that they're getting is way exorbitant. They're not getting what they paid for. So if you invested $20,000 into your e-commerce business and it's not a website that can make sales and you're not getting any return on it, it's very hard to justify continuing to pay these firms for something that doesn't produce any kind of income or revenue for you. So I think what we're finding right now is a lot of these firms in the Miami area, Lauderdale, West Palm, that's the area I'm most familiar with, are just overpriced for what you're getting. A lot of these firms are overpriced, and you can't blame them. I mean, the rents are incredibly high, employment's incredibly high. There's a lot of things that you have to, justify for making these websites, but ultimately people are getting overpriced and underdelivered. So I just want to say that the second thing that's going on right now with these trash web firms is the over and underpricing of what they are delivering to the ultimate client. And that would bring me to my third point, which is the delivery of the unsatisfactory website. So what does that mean? That means a lot of things, and not every small business owner is going to understand everything that goes into a website. You know, I've had clients who look at the website and they're like, oh, this is great, and then 2-3 weeks later, like, oh, it looks really great on the, iPhone or mobile. And I'm like, well, you never even checked so a lot of these people don't understand what they're getting for the prices. So the delivery of unsatisfactory or poor UI, UX looking aesthetically websites has become a huge problem. I cannot tell you how many customers we have had reach out to us and say, I already tried to do this once, I've tried to do this twice, they didn't deliver, it wasn't what I wanted, it's not what I need, can you help me? And it's like, yes, we can definitely help you, but you have to learn yourself. If you don't sit here and take the time to talk with us and understand what you're getting, you're gonna have a hard time justifying those costs or justifying the product in the end. And that's why a lot of time with the proposals that we put together for our potential customers, our line items are very, very detailed as far as what you're getting. It will tell you how many pages it's going to have. It will tell you if it includes SEO. It will tell you what platform, if it's a WordPress or a Drupal or whatever technology you're planning on using. All of these things, if they are not highlighted in the proposal that you are getting from the web firm, it's a trash web firm. Because ultimately they can come back later and say, oh, well, it never said that, it never included that, and you as the business owner, the small business owner, don't fully understand what you're getting into until you're a couple weeks into the project. And that's where I think we're finding a big issue, is that people are getting delivered crap websites that do not look and interact with the population like they should, or on the internet. And that'll bring me into my fourth reason, which is just that there's too many in this gig economy. What's happened since the whole 2020 global situation is that a lot of people went into the gig economy. Businesses shut down, people couldn't go to their 9-to-5s, the tourism, the restaurants, the hotels, all of those jobs were gone overnight. So as they're coming back, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, a lot of these people went home for the last 6 months and were like, well, maybe I can do somebody's social media, or maybe I can do their graphics, or maybe I can build them a website. So they tried to have this kid or adult in their home, sitting in their bedroom, trying to build you your professional corporate website. And as much as people want to, grow in this field and learn as much as they can, it takes years of experience and years of failed projects and years of successful projects to really have a good grasp of what is needed. And that goes down to say that, again, one person in their room is going to be overwhelmed. We have a team of multiple managers, just to keep projects moving smooth and moving forward. We have a team of developers who are working, whether it's kind of drawing out the whole Photoshops of how the site's going to look to deliver the design concepts, or whether it is kind of building the foundational draft of the website, whether it is making edits, changes, revisions, things that clients are coming back and wanting to have done. So I think what we've found is the fourth point is that just a lot of people in the last 2 years have tried to move into this industry because it is a growing industry that lacks the number of people needed to kind of keep it sustainable. But it's become a lot of, mom and pops in their rooms that can't manage these type of websites. It takes multiple people. It takes a team of people building websites. You look at Facebook, there's a whole office corporation building of developers, and I get that that's an extreme example, but even smaller companies need somebody building their website on a daily basis, especially if you're getting into SEO, blog management, social media marketing, all these things that kind of come back and connect your website, Google Ads. So that's what we found is number 4 with these trash web firms, is that it's people sitting in their house and they ultimately don't have the skills or the manpower to produce a professional website for a lot of these firms. And that'll bring me into my last point, which is this: there's a huge lack of professionalism in this industry. Yes, I know your typical computer hacker can be a guy that, is overweight, or what we picture as kind of the typical nerd sitting in their bedroom, at 3 a.m. with the music dark, and that's there's a lack of professionalism in this. People do not want to get up and put on a suit and go, build websites. They want to be in sweatpants and they want to be in comfortable stuff. And you can't blame them. And there's a lot of times that we do that too. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with how you look or present yourself. It's just the whole industry in general has a big lack of professionalism. So when I say professionalism, I'm talking like when you go to a nice hotel and everybody there is presented and looking good. You go to a nice restaurant, everybody there is presented and looking, and there's a reason that they have that level of professionalism in their appearance and in how they present themselves. And I think that in this industry, we're just completely lacking that. And I've seen throughout the South Florida areas that there's also it's very competitive, which has created a market where, I look at these big web firms that have been in the South Florida area for a long time, and I follow their social medias and I see what they're doing, and they'll have 20 employees in a big office in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And then you start to add up that, okay, that rent is 20 grand, that employee is 5 grand a month, that, so they're getting up to these extreme costs that then bring the cost of the website just completely high. And what I've actually seen is a lot of these firms haven't made it. I would say we've been in business 12 years or 11 years, and I cannot count how many web firms in South Florida have failed. And I mean, I'm talking companies that I would have been watching for years. I've been in their buildings, I've met their employees, and they're gone. Or what they've had to do is transition into being more of a remote or a more interactive company without all the rents and the overheads. Because as a web developer, you're not just competing with South Florida. You're competing with India. You're competing with Eastern Europe. You're competing with a lot of these areas of the world that have very good web developers and have the cost of living a fraction of what it is to live in the United States. And that is something that's become a big problem for a lot of web firms. And if you find the right clients, it's not a problem, but people are having trouble finding those right clients. So guys, with this, I just want to say, why are so many web firms trash in 2022? And I'll just kind of quickly review it. There's a huge lack of experience and skills in the industry. There's a huge pricing of overpricing and underpricing issues with the whole industry. There is, for 3, a huge issue of delivering unsatisfactory websites that are way below the professionalism that people go into, which is my 5th point, which is just a huge lack of professionalism. And when you kind of combine all these things together, you're just finding an industry that lacks good web firms. So with that being said, guys, if you are looking to have a good professional web firm, if you want a whole team supporting you, if you want to work with people who have been doing this for 10 years and have seen the websites and the businesses that grow and the websites and the businesses that fail, give us a call. Let us know in the comments. That's what we're here for. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.